Please help me welcome our special guest speaker this evening, Linda Lindsay.
Welcome to our seminar. I'm so blessed to be able to share with you what I've learned, and I look forward to helping each of you realize that you have the power within to help yourself and others. This is the me I want everyone to see. This is the me I want to be. I want to start by telling you a bit about myself and my life, and how staying positive has helped me overcome adversity. I come from a very humble beginning. My dad delivered me into this world on a stormy spring morning. I was born the 7th of 7 children on May 30th, 1952. I always had a positive outlook on life, and I still do. What I found was that when I found something good that came out of something bad, I feel better. And as the saying goes, when you let go and let God, you release the power to help yourself. I grew up in Northern Ontario on what I refer to as an old McDonald's farm. We had a few horses, pigs, chickens, cows, of course, cats and dogs. We even had Mary's little lamb for a while. And just like in the story, she followed us everywhere, except she couldn't follow us to school because we took the bus. I became aware of the circle of life in my early years, how everything lives, grows, and dies. I married young, had children, and continued my rural life. I worked part-time as a waitress, a cook. I did live-in caregiving, I planted trees, I did Alouette home shows. I also was assistant leader in the 4-H calf club, training how to raise, groom, and show a potential winner in our local fair. I also was an instructor for adult classes for basic cooking and sewing through the Department of Agriculture. I know everyone has probably heard the expressions, everything happens for a reason, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, or every cloud has a silver lining. I always prayed that I would have my joie de vivre no matter what, which means joy for life. And I always count my blessings. The purpose of these seminars is to leave you with bits of information, equip you with helpful resources, inspire you to reach your goals, and to see you smile. My dad had a huge effect on my life. My mother left him with 7 children to raise in the 1950s. No one would have blamed him if he split us all up, but he didn't. He put it into perspective when he said, I come from a broken home. These kids are not going to. He gave us the gift of family and knowing our siblings, and I learned so much about him. When I was in my early teens, I started asking questions about my mother. He said, she was a good cook and a good housekeeper, and I don't want to talk about it. He never said a negative word about her, and I admired him for that. The spoken word is so powerful that once you say it, you can never take it back. Believe me, I learned the hard way to mentally duct tape my lips closed when a negative, hurtful thought wanted to make its way into this world. And I'm just like everyone else. I'm not infallible and I mess up. But what I found was, the more I practice self-control, the better I get. I met my mother for the first time that I remember when I was 16. The first words she said to me about my dad were negative and hurtful, and I've never forgotten. Believe it or not, this too was a gift. She reinforced the reason to use kind words. I guess what I'm trying to say is, find what the life lesson is and turn it into a blessing. When I was 23, my only son died at birth. I'd been to the doctor earlier in the week, and he checked the heartbeat, and he said everything was good. I didn't even get to hold him. I was deeply depressed for 4 days, and the doctors were very concerned. I wouldn't eat. All I did was sleep and cry. On the fourth night, my dear friend Judy came into the room and convinced me to eat. She led me to believe that she was going against hospital policy and that we'd be in big trouble if we got caught. My son had a collapsed lung, and he would have been a bleeder. And he wouldn't have been able to run and play and enjoy being a child. I was able to count my blessings that he didn't suffer. And I also had my healthy 3-year-old daughter, Candy, at home, who needed her mom. When I was 27, my 2-year-old daughter, Carrie, was killed in a tragic farming accident. We were working so hard to get ahead, to make a better life for ourselves. My days were exhausting, taking care of my family, my household, and helping out in the barn. And on top of all that, I was pregnant again, expecting our 6th child. When Carrie died, my fingers went numb from the knuckles down to the ends of the fingers, and they stayed that way for 6 months. My daughter Calico was only 3 years old at the time. She sobbed every night for 3 weeks. She would say, "I want my Carrie back." They were best friends. I consoled her the only way I knew how. I held her and cuddled her until she fell asleep. And I prayed every night for God to take away the pain. One morning, I woke up with the words to a song in my head, "My treasures in heaven with God." I wrote the lyrics down and had them put on a record at that time. And it made me feel better. I didn't know it, but I was doing something called the head-heart-hand connection. It's where you take the pain out of your heart, the thoughts out of your head, and transfer it onto paper. It is a very important part of the healing process. I was able to count my blessings that Carrie did not live to be seriously disabled or have a brain injury. And we were blessed again with another beautiful baby girl, Holly. It does not matter what happens to you in life. What matters is the choices you make and how you deal with it. My dad used to say, "Keep your chin up, kid." I followed his advice, and I found that when you keep your chin up, you see all those around you who love and care about you. And also, you're reminded of a higher power, which governs all of our lives. I believe that the power of prayer and positive thinking can get you through any situation. In 1996, we had a house fire. On February 21st at 2 a.m., I woke up to the feeling of a huge hand shaking my shoulder, and I could hear a voice saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." As I stirred to a conscious level, I didn't want to get up. All I wanted to do was sleep. I was recovering from a back injury, and before I went to bed, I'd taken some painkillers and some muscle relaxants so I could get some rest. I could smell something scorchy, but I was nodding off, and I heard the voice saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up. So I got up out of bed with my eyes half open, and I walked into the laundry room next to our bedroom. I thought maybe somebody left the iron on, but everything was okay. So I continued on, and as I rounded the corner into the living room, I was shocked awake. The whole kitchen in front of me was one huge bonfire. I ran halfway up the stairs to wake up our two teenage daughters and a friend of the family. I said, "Get up, the house is on fire!" And as soon as I heard them moving, I ran back down, moved the stuff away from the back door so we could get out. We all got out alive, and we were standing there like statues in the snow, watching our home go up in flames. And the fire department was already there when we got out, and one fireman came up to me and said, "You're lucky, 5 more minutes and you all would have been dead." Was it luck or divine design? The hand I felt and the voice I heard were not of this world. I counted our blessings again. We did lose most of our possessions, but our lives were spared, and my optimism was still intact. On May 19th, 2007, I went to my daughter Calico's place to celebrate Mother's Day, my birthday, and my 2 grandsons' birthdays. I was looking forward to spending the afternoon with my family. And what was supposed to be a fun day turned into a traumatic event that changed my life forever. As I walked up onto the porch, my sandal got caught in a small tear in the indoor-outdoor rug, causing me to lose my balance, falling forward, and I hit my head on the brick wall. I'd fallen many times before, but I could always get back up. This time was different. It felt like my body belonged to someone else. There was blood gushing from the right side of my head, and my arms and legs would not move. Even though they were down straight beside me, it felt like my hands and legs were up in the position used for parachute jumping. My daughter Holly was bringing stuff in from the car, and as she rounded the corner, I blurted, "Help me, Holly." I guess I thought that if I asked for help, everything would be okay. She screeched in horror. It's strange, I did not panic. I just said a silent prayer asking God to help me while we waited for the ambulance. I had a spinal cord injury, and they had to fuse my spine in 2 places. The surgery was performed through the front of my neck, and the surgeon warned my family that I may not be able to speak when I came out of surgery. But I was blessed. I could still talk. The diagnosis was that I am a quadriplegic and that I'll never walk again. The first 3 months were rough. It was a huge adjustment for me and my family. I could hardly do anything for myself. When someone gave me a hug, I couldn't even hug back. The one day, I asked my grandson Dylan to pass me a Kleenex, and he said, "Grandma, when I'm done being afraid, I'll do better." He was only 6 years old. It was hard for me to fathom that my own grandchildren were afraid of me, until I looked in the mirror. I looked pretty scary. My unruly hair poked up in every direction. I had 27 stitches zagging across the right side of my head, and I had to wear these horrible, uncomfortable collars on my neck until it healed. It swallowed up my neck, and I felt like a mutant. And I had to deal with the fact that I wasn't the same silly grandma that I was before. I was not able to hold a phone. I couldn't feed myself I couldn't wash my face, and I couldn't even brush my hair. But I had a solution for that. I shaved my head. My logic was that I couldn't look any worse than I already did. And it turned out good. I got lots of compliments. People said that I looked like Sinead O'Connor, and some said Demi Moore. And those flattering words made me try to sit up straighter. During this time, I found out how much my family really loves me. When I was vulnerable as a newborn baby, someone was with me 24/7. To put a little humor into the situation, they even cleaned my dentures for me. It made me chuckle to see my oldest daughter, Candy, handle them like an ugly, hot potato that she wanted to drop at any time. I felt blessed. We all know how powerful and influential the media can be on our lives. I had the privilege to watch the movie Short Circuit. It's about a robot who got hit by lightning affecting his circuits. He thinks that he is alive. He wasn't working properly, and he said to the lady Stephanie who found him that he was malfunctioning and he needed more input. And when anyone tried to tell him that he was just a robot, he said, "No, not just robot. Number 5 is alive." I always liked number 5's attitude, even before I fell. So when the doctors told me that I was a quadriplegic and I never walked again, I used it as a guideline and I said, "No, I'm just malfunctioning." My point is, keep life simple. Focus on what you can do, not on what you can't do. I was a patient at Parkwood Rehabilitation Hospital in London for a year and a half, and it was time for me to become an outpatient. I was hoping to get a unit at the Cheshire Assisted Living, but there was a waiting list, so they sent me to Marion Villa Nursing Home. I was there for 6 months before an apartment became available. I was feeling dejected, unimportant, and hurt. This was a low point for me, being there. The staff tried to encourage me to go to functions and sing-alongs, but my life there was like my wheelchair, very mechanical. I was still sleeping a lot, and I listened to my meditation CDs to help maintain balance. And I used to tell myself, it's just a stepping stone. I liked to play cards, and I met a lady there who also liked to play. So I taught her how to play canasta, and we played almost every night. And it helped keep my sanity in a place where I felt like a total misfit. While I was there, I talked often with a staff member about the importance of healing, power of the mind, and therapy. She told me about her good friend, Katerina, who is an amazing therapist. And she thought that she'd be able to help me. And I said, "Well, I don't really have any extra money for therapy right now." She said, "Oh, I think you should ask her anyways." So I did. I told her about my financial predicament, and this wonderful woman took an IOU until I was able to pay her on a regular basis. And after I left there, she followed me and kept me on as a patient. And to this day, I am her only house call. Remember I mentioned that the expression that everything happens for a reason? I truly believe that we were meant to meet. Katerina believes in my progress, and for this reason, I've set a new goal to be walking. Smiles and sincere compliments are valuable. Valuable elixirs in life to help others feel appreciated. I'm the type of person who likes to compliment others, and I'm a sucker for a beautiful smile. One day, I was in the White Oaks Mall, and I complimented a sales clerk on her warm smile and pleasant demeanor. She didn't know that she was speaking to my daughter Star, and she said to her that I was having a bad day, but now I feel better. That lady over there changed my day. Here's another story that I love to tell about the red scarf. It still amazes me how the power of the universe works. On this particular day, I was waiting for the paratransit bus to pick me up after a doctor's appointment. And while waiting, I watched another lady getting off a paratransit bus, and she was wearing a red scarf that caught my eye. And when she drove past me in her motorized chair, I commented on it. She said, "Thank you," and went on her way. 5 minutes later, she came back and she said, "I want to give this to you." I said, "No, I can't take your scarf. It's cold out." She said, "It's okay. I have another one with me." And I looked over and I saw one on the back of her chair. Then she says, "I really want to give you this scarf." So I accepted. The irony is, that very morning, I'd said to my worker, Trevor, "I really would like a long red scarf." Poof! Like magic, the universe gave it to me. This is just a small symbol of proof that each of us has the ability to manifest our desires. It doesn't always happen the way you expect, but the end result is the same. You get what you want. I used to do a lot of sewing, but I can't do it by myself anymore. But I can play stop and go. I feed the material under the feed dogs while someone presses on the foot pedal, and I say, "Stop, go, go, go." It just makes it fun. My kitchen skills have also been compromised. I have to train my workers to put the lids on jars loosely, which goes against everything you're ever taught, and also to place everything within reach so I can still cook for myself. One day, I wanted to make some homemade beef barley soup. So I took the container of broth out of the fridge, but it slipped from my hand. "Oh man," I said out loud to myself. What am I going to do now? The container was too large to pick up with my reacher, and I was really salivating for this soup that I wanted to make, and I wasn't giving up. So I took the butcher knife with the longest handle, and I stabbed it into the lid of the container, and I picked it up. I felt very proud of myself. And I think that was the best soup I've ever made. Just recently, I was making some peanut butter cookies. And before I got the peanut butter from the jar that I needed, I dropped the peanut butter. Again, the reacher could not pick it up. So I had to figure out something. I already had the oven heating, and I wasn't going to waste hydro. So I took the reacher and I spread a tea towel out onto the floor. I rolled the jar into the middle of the tea towel. I folded the edge of the tea towel to the middle to make a sling, and then I hoisted it up with the reacher. Yahoo! I did it! Little accomplishments make big differences. I'm sure that some of you have heard about the attitude of gratitude. I first learned about this from the movie The Secret. It talks about the law of attraction and being grateful, about keeping a gratitude journal to make us mindful of the things in life that we should be thankful for. I started my journal, and in it I wrote, "I'm grateful for life," and just about anything else I could think of for the day. And it was suggested that you write just 5 things. Now I write 10 to 20 things that I'm thankful for. It doesn't need to be complicated. It could be toothbrushes, hairbrushes, phone calls, computers, etc. But what is important is that you write out the words, "I am grateful for," before each item. And this solidifies the gratitude in your mind and also to the universe. I was always grateful for abundance in my life. And on June 21st, 2011, I was wonderfully blessed. I won $1 million. On an instant scratch ticket. I'd asked my worker, Trevor, to pick me up 2 tickets of any kind. It'd been a long time since I played, and I just wanted to see if Lady Luck would smile on me. Well, I was sitting, scratching my tickets at the table, and I remember grumbling after the first one, "I didn't even win $5. But I kept scratching. And the second one said, number 14, $1 million. I didn't freak out. I just turned it over and read, scratched numbers, win the corresponding prize. Number 14, $1 million. And before I said anything to Trevor, I did this again. Scratch the numbers, win the corresponding prize. Number 14, $1 million. So then I said, "Trevor, I think I just won $1 million. And he said, "Holy shit!" He ran to the corner store in record time to validate the ticket, and he came back in record time. I was sitting on the porch waiting, and I could see him halfway down the street waving the ticket and saying, "It's good, it's good, it's good." I was still calm, and I felt extremely blessed. I always knew that I would have financial abundance. I just didn't know how. I got to tell you, I didn't come from a wealthy family, and I've been so broke, I couldn't even pay attention. It changed my life for the better, but it didn't change me. And when I won the money, I made up this little song. I warn you, I can't sing, but I'll sing it anyways. I got some money, I'm going shopping to buy some new shoes at Value Village. I gave my workers all a bonus and a raise for their dedicated service. Of course, I helped out my family and I gave to charity. But for me, the greatest thrill was to be able to give because I can. I bought myself a wheelchair van so I can go where I want, when I want, stay as long as I want, as long as I have someone to drive me. And I call my van Van Gogh. Because I just get in my van and I go. I also bought myself a trailer at a trailer park in Goderich, so I'd have somewhere to go. And what's great about my lot is it has a little shed on it that was used for extra sleeping space. And it's perfect because I can get my chair in and out by myself. I hope this has impressed upon you the power of your mind and your thoughts, and how you can manifest what you want. I have a bar on my wall in the bedroom that I used to pull myself up to a standing position. Above it, I've written affirmations on cardboard. They serve as a cheerleading squad for my mind. I read them every day, and I focus on the feeling of health. And my favorite one is, whatever I vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. And after that, I add a little sound effect. And while I'm standing there, I do a mental checklist of health. For my mind, I have positive self-help videos, books, and CDs. For my body, I have my valuable and competent staff who help me with exercises and daily care. For nutrition, I drink Mona V juice, which is so nutritionally dense that a person could live on that alone for 3 months and not be malnourished. For my spirit and soul, I'm developing the power within. I'm so determined to walk again, I even name my legs and ankles so they'll feel the love and participate in my mission. I call my right leg Ziggy and my left leg Zaggy, and I call my ankles Orky and Gorky. I try to keep the mood light, and I focus and I pray for patience. I've picked up the powerful phrase, love, bless, and release, from my wonderful friend, Karen. It has helped me deal with some serious issues, like break and entry, my staff stealing large sums of money from me, not showing up for work or calling to say that they weren't coming, or leaving and not telling me that they were going. When I hired a person, I got them to sign what I called a contract of awareness. This stated the rate of pay and the issue of insurance, and also that I am in a vulnerable state and not to leave a shift unfinished. And if they had to leave for some reason, they should find a replacement. Well, everyone read it and signed it, professing that they would never do such a thing. But guess what? They did. I didn't want to be bitter because I know that it wouldn't help me if I sat here grumbling about an injustice done. So I said, love, bless, and release, and it helped. But I wanted to be in control. So I said, love, bless, and release, next! I felt powerful, and no one was going to mess with my joie de vivre. I listened to various self-help coaches and teachers, and they all share their experience and thoughts on this great puzzle called life. Paul Sheely, who is a human development consultant, teacher, and author, coined the silly-sounding word egg bop. And he said, anytime you feel frustrated, anxious, or worried, you should say, egg bok, egg bok, egg bok. It reminded me of a chicken laying an egg. Egg bok, egg bok, egg bok. But what it stands for has a calming effect on the mind, and it lightens the mood. It means everything's going to be okay. I think we have all had some yeah buts in our life. Yeah, but I'm too old. Yeah, but I'm not smart enough. Yeah, but she's lucky and I could never do that, etc., etc., etc. I found out a few years ago what yeah buts are. My nephew Jigger informed me that yabbits are just rabbits with no ears. I have a solution solution for that. Okay. Put your ears on and listen to your inner voice. Listen to those around you who are trying to help you. Listen to the sounds of nature and the sounds of the universe all around you. And when you do this, you become more aware and appreciative of life. People tell me that I am stubborn, and I won't let them help me if I can manage to do something myself. The answer is, yes, I am. And I'm on a mission for my greater good. I'd like to read to you this poem entitled Desiderata. There's some confused history of its origin. Apparently it dated back as far as 1692, where parts of it were found in a church in Baltimore. But it became popular in the 1960s, and I remember hearing it on the radio, narrated by Lorne Greene. The message is timeless, and I found that it was a great guideline for life. Desiderata. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself to others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a healthy discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe. No less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. No doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in this noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Strive to be happy. Be cheerful. This is the you I want to see. This is the you I hope you want to be. I've placed some happy rocks on the table, one for each of you. I chose rocks because I like rocks. And if I was a rock, I'd be strong enough so that life wouldn't wear me down too quickly, and mysterious enough so everything about me is not obvious, but also adaptable enough that I would fit in anywhere. I chose happy faces because they're just so darn cute, and who can resist them? And also, they symbolize contentment. I chose polished rocks because when you open up to the power within, life becomes smoother and easier and more worthwhile. I would like everyone to take a rock and carry it with you to remind you that life is good and happy rocks. Thank you.